everyone, and welcome back to At Home with Gigi. I'm Gwen. Thank you so much for being here today, and if you are new to my channel, a great big welcome to you. I hope that you might decide to become a part of my YouTube family and subscribe to my channel, and while you're subscribing, go ahead and click on that little bell down there, and YouTube will notify you each time that I create a brand new video. Guys, I'm going to ask for some grace today for this video. I'm well aware that Mother's Day is in 2 days and I am late in getting this video out, but I went home to visit my family for quite some time because I hadn't seen them in about 15 months with everything going on, and whenever I came back home, time just got away from me in getting this video out this week. So again, I do apologize, but I really think that you will love these wreaths as much as I do. So with that being said, let's get started. For this first wreath, we're going to start out by spraying this ring that I picked up from Michael's. I've never used a flat ring like this before, and it's made out of some type of particle board material, and guys, it did not want to absorb this spray paint. And this is my favorite spray paint from Rust-Oleum. It's the Ultra Matte, and it covers so well, but it did not cover evenly at all. You can't really tell it right here because of my camera, but it just didn't look very good, so I decided to cover it in twine, and I am glad that I did because he gave it such a pretty rustic farmhouse look. But if you don't have twine, which that's all that I had on hand because I'm doing this at my daughter's house, you can use rope that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree and just pull it apart and use the one strand to go around, and I think it would give it such a pretty look as well, and it'd probably go a lot faster because this took me a while. But I just hot glued the end and then just held it really tightly and just kept going round and round until I got the ring completely covered. And then just ever so often I used just a tiny dab of hot glue because I did not want that hot glue to show through. And then I just kept, as you can see, I'm using my other hand to just hold that twine in place and then pulling it through with the other, just making sure I keep it really tight. And here I'm just going to again use just a tiny bit of glue, and that detailing tip on the end of my Sure Bond or glue gun, it works wonders for this, but just be careful because I'm using Gorilla Glue, my favorite glue, and it gets so hot. And then just snip it off right there and then just press that tip down into your glue, and it has held up really well. And I'm going to use lamb's ear for my greenery, and I got this lamb's ear at Walmart. You get 2 of the stems for $2, and this is really good quality lamb's ear. I think it compares to what I can get at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. For a couple of bucks, you can't beat it.
If I close my eyes and think about us, I can see the person I know I should be. Cause honestly, I don't have no time to waste. I'm trying to come back to you because now I see we were meant to be. Just tell me where and I'll come see ya. Cause I'm afraid that I'll end up here alone. Hope
And if that happens, just add a little dab of hot glue and just pop that leaf right back on. And then I want one piece of my lamb's ear going in the other direction. And I'm just going to kind of measure it right there and see exactly where I want it. And then just snip that extra little piece off. Just press down fairly hard to make sure that that stem is going to stick to your ring. Just fluff up and see if you need to add any more lamb's ear. Now this is where I'm going to add the extra strips of twine. And I'm using the twine because I want it to blend in with my wreath form. If you don't have twine or you don't want to use twine, you can always use floral wire, zip ties, whatever you have on hand. Like I said, I want to make sure that this is going to blend in with the ring. And I'm just adding in a little extra greenery here, just to give it a little bit of added dimension. I'm just going to take a longer piece of this twine and tie it around the center right here, and then I'm just going to cut that off and then just wrap it over and over, up and down over those long stems, just to make sure that they are held in place. I don't believe that my Gorilla Glue is going to come loose, but you just want to make sure that it's secured. And what I don't show you is I also go back and take smaller pieces of the twine and go in between each of the stems and tie it off, and then I put a little dot of hot glue there just for extra security. Especially if you're going to give this as a gift, you just want to make sure that everything's going to be held in place. Or if you're selling your wreaths as well, you definitely don't want to sell something that's going to fall apart. And again, just add a little bit of glue right there, hold it in place until it starts to dry. And then you can just snip off that little extra tail there. And these beautiful flowers actually came from Walmart as well. I loved the color of that rose. I thought it was so pretty, and you can use that well into summer. And I don't remember what the two white flowers are called. You want to make sure that you're putting a good amount of glue on the back of that flower because you really want it to stay on that ring. But I'm not putting as much as it appears that I am putting. I just couldn't get my glue to come out for some reason. And then just hold it there and let it set up. I love those little white flowers. I thought it really made the orange of that rose just pop. And I'm just going to put them on either side of the rose. And I kind of want them, as you can see, facing kind of in the other direction. I want the rose facing out and the two little white flowers facing in. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the lamb's ear right there. Kind of cover up that bare spot right there. whenever I pull flowers off like that and just use just the head, I do keep my greenery for other projects. I try not to throw anything away. I try to reuse it. And I'm just adding a little bit of greenery in here or there just to give it a little bit more dimension. And this is something I had left over from another project. I believe that came from Michael's as well. You could actually just change out the flowers on this and use this any season of the year. It's just very, very versatile. And I like to use lamb's ear year round.
I guess I'm lonely. I'm starting to grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid, 'cause all we had was eyes.
And these are, I believe, called ranunculus. I think I'm saying that right. If not, comment down below and let me know. But I thought they were just really, really pretty. A little bit flimsy. As you'll see here, I've got to hot glue them back on.
Because now I see we were meant to be.
As you can see, that one completely popped off. So whenever you're using flowers that seem to be really flimsy like that, just check the heads and just add a little dab of glue and pop them right back on and they'll stay. And again, especially if you're going to give this as a gift or sell it, you really want to take that extra little bit of time and make sure the heads of your flowers are attached.
Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid, 'cause all we had was eyes. If I close my eyes and think about us, I can see the person I know I should be.
I couldn't make up my mind if I wanted to use a big one or two small ones. As you can see, I kept going back and forth and then just decided to go with the two smaller ones. This wreath was so fast to make. The longest part really was wrapping the twine around the wreath. And like I said, if you use rope, it would probably go a lot faster. And this is what it looks like hanging on your front door. Most of the items for this wreath came from the Dollar Tree, with the exception of the lavender and the ribbon that I'm going to use for the bow. That came from Michael's, and then the lavender came from Walmart. And I'm just going to fold this ribbon over on itself and then hot glue it. Be careful that you don't burn your fingers there, because it does ooze through that burlap ribbon. And then I'm just going to get it started wrapping around the bottom of this wreath form here, and then just wrap it all the way up to the bottom, and then I'm going to cut it. And I'm just going to do each section of the cross individually. I just think it would be much easier to do it that way. Once you get it going, it's relatively fast, as you can see. It just takes a little time to get it going. I'm just going to cut it off there and fold it over on itself, and then just hot glue that down. And the idea for this wreath came from Pinterest, from a picture that I saw on there, and I just thought it was so pretty. I thought this would be just a beautiful Mother's Day wreath to make for someone. As you can see, I'm using that little tool. That is one of my favorite tools to use when I'm hot gluing, because it really does help to save your fingers. And again, just fold it under and hot glue it. Then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. I think it took one full roll and maybe about a quarter to a half of another roll of this ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm just hot gluing this piece of floral foam down to the center of the cross, and then I want it to go at an angle. And I'm just clipping down my greenery, and I am going to be using a lot of greenery, and all of it came from the Dollar Tree because they had such pretty florals this spring, and I overbought just a little bit, and I'm going to be using a lot today. But that's okay, I need to use it up because I have, like I said, a lot. But really, I am going for a very full, lush look today. The only greenery that I wasn't real pleased with is this fern right here. It's just kind of flimsy. I had to help it along just a little bit. And if you ever have that problem, I save my stems from used flowers and greenery, and I just attached it with some hot glue. I am using a lot of different types of greenery in this wreath. If you do not have that many different types of greenery, you do not have to use. Please don't feel that you have to go out and buy all these different types of greenery. Just use whatever you have on hand. Like I had said earlier, I had way overbought, and this was just the perfect opportunity with this wreath to use some of this greenery up. And I really wanted a very full, lush look with this wreath. And I really think that I accomplished that. I was really happy with the end result, and I think that you will love it as much as I do. Just hang in with me. It's looking a little crazy right now, I know, but it's gonna get there, I promise you. And this lavender right here is what I picked up from Walmart. I do have some of the lavender from the Dollar Tree, but it wasn't nearly as long as this is right here, and I wanted my stems to stick up in certain places over the greenery and just stand out. And this was just so pretty, and I got a big bundle of it. I think it was either $4.97 or $3.97. I'm looking at it and trying to decide. I wanted something else, and I just wasn't quite sure. It took me a couple of, maybe even 3 days to really complete this wreath, because I just felt that it needed something else and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I was in a Dollar Tree that was about an hour from my home, and I came across these really pretty little delicate purple flowers right here. And I thought they were just so pretty. As soon as I saw them, I knew that I had to have them. I think it's just what this wreath needed. And I also wanted just a little pop of white, and I knew that I wanted some tulips in there. These tulips came from Michael's, and I had bought these early spring. And these are also some of the ones that they had for $1.99 a bunch, and you have to make sure that you go in and check the heads on those tulips and hot glue them back on. And this right here, I'm just adding hot glue, and then I'm putting some moss down here on that to cover up that styrofoam block. I'm going to have a big bow to go over the top, but I just want to make sure if you can see around or see through that ribbon at any time that it's covered with this moss. I'm just putting it on all 3 sides. Just be careful of your fingers here, folks. I did burn my fingers a couple of times doing this. Evidently I didn't want the brown Spanish moss, just the green. After I finished gluing down all the moss on there, I did go back with my scissors and trim it up and make sure there wasn't any loose or excess moss on it. And if you find any bare spots, I just went back and added just a little bit more glue and added a little more moss. This is really messy, so if you decide to recreate this, I would advise doing it in an area you don't mind making a mess. And this ribbon, both the purple and this khaki color, both of them came from Michael's, and it is beautiful ribbon, but it is such a flimsy ribbon. Both of them say that they are wired, but it really did not seem as if it had wire in it. But it came out a beautiful bow, but I just would, if you're looking for something that has a really firm wire, I do not recommend this ribbon at all. And I'm just making 2 about 5.5 inch loops on each side. And I'm using the Easy Bow Maker because my fingers some days just don't work very well in holding onto the ribbon. And then this is a 1.5 inch, the purple polka dot. And I'm going to make, I believe it was 3, about 4.5 inch loops on each side. Make sure that you when you trim your ends, that you do a pretty dovetail or just at an angle. And I'm using a zip tie to hold my bow or my ribbon in place. I just prefer to have the zip tied. To me, it just holds it much tighter than a pipe cleaner. And then just fluff, and fluff some more. I'm still working on my bow making skills, and so I have to really work at it and really fluff my bow to make it look pretty. I decided to go back and add some extra tails to my bow. And I'm just using another zip tie here to hold them in place. Just make sure you snip off that little tail on the zip tie there. And I'm just going to take a piece of that purple ribbon and tie it around the center of the bow to hide that zip tie. And it's also going to serve the purpose of attaching my bow to my wreath. I didn't want to use wire, and I definitely did not want to hot glue it on there.
I'm starting to grow old, and I thought my youth would last forever.
I just looped it around through there and tightened it up as tight as I could, and then tied a knot in it. And then just trim off that excess ribbon. I'm also trimming off these tails. I made them way too long. I had originally had a different idea in my mind where I wanted to go with that, but it didn't look right. I just love this wreath. And I think that my friend is going to love it as well. It'll be the perfect Mother's Day gift for her. And you can never fluff a bow too much.
Where are you now? Heard you live far away, but just tell me where and I'll come see ya. 'Cause I'm afraid that I'll end up here alone. Hope you'll understand how much I need ya. Take me back to when we were kids and didn't care if we were acting stupid.
I think this wreath turned out so beautiful. When I started, I knew the idea that I had in my head, but I just wasn't for sure if I was going to be able to get it to translate, and I love it. It's really lush and over the top, but I am just loving it. Let me know if you guys decide to recreate one of these wreaths, and also let me know which one was your favorite. Thank you again so very much for being here today. If you like this video, I sure hope that you will give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys next time.